In this video series, I'll be making some barn door hardware. So this is a multi-part video. Then we'll make this horseshoe bend in this 3/16 inch by 1 inch steel. Okay, part 2 of the garage door or barn door hardware build. I have welded axles into these wheels. I didn't video any of this. I just did it. I welded 1/4 inch rod on each side. Well, the 1/4 inch rod goes all the way through, and then I welded it on each side. Of course, my ability to weld around something is not great, but it's stuck in there, and it's not going to hold a lot. That weld's not. It's just going to hold the axle from moving in and out. So to smooth that weld up, I set this up here. I didn't videotape any of it, but there's really not any reason to videotape it. I put this in my drill press just like you see it here, with my DeWalt hand grinder underneath it, and I turned the drill press on and the grinder on at the same time, and I just slowly whittle that down, that weld down, until I got it halfway smooth up against the wheel, and I think that'll be just fine. I had to redo one of them 3 times before I finally figured out that number 1, you have to go slow, and number 2, you have to go slower. So they're both pretty good now. So I have done a little calculating. I've got 2 blocks of wood over here that are 6 inches long, and I put this on these blocks. I set it at one end. I put a mark on there, and I realize all this could be done with mathematics, but I thought this would work just as easy, and I counted it, and in that 6 inch length, that wheel rotated exactly 7 times. Now, like the outside of this, the inside of this wheel, the diameter of that is 2 inches. So then I did do some math. Took pi times the diameter, come up with, or times 7, because it went 7 revolutions, come up with almost 44 inches of travel, which is more than enough for this application. So I'm going with just a little bit, and you see I got a little bit of a wobble in that one. The other one doesn't have any. I think it'll be okay. 44 inches is plenty in this application, so I'm going just a little bit wider, just to make sure we've got enough travel. Now, since I don't have one of these to make any measurements off of, what I did was I took a piece of wire and bent it to what I think I need. I've got an 1 3/8 circle bend around there, and that's a little bit over 6 inches. What I did was I cut a piece of 2 inch wood. You see it down there. I cut a 6 inch circle on that, and I took a piece of iron that I had flattened out. This is actually got that baby in there. This is actually some rebar that I flattened down and made into flat bar. So I bent that around that 6 inch form that I made out of wood, and then tack welded some pieces, welded them in there real good, some pieces on the back side to hold it, so that I've got the form. So that's a little bit more than 6. It's probably even a little bit more than 6.5. I haven't measured it. Guess I can do that. The outside is 6 3/8. So I should have plenty of travel. Now, so I bent that wire around that. That's just stovepipe wire. I've got a whole big spool of it that I've had for years. Now I can guesstimate how long of a piece of bar I need to cut off to start making the piece that bolts onto the door. And I've got that stock right here. I went to my friendly neighborhood steel house, Warner Steel, and bought this out of their drops. It's 1 inch by 3/16 inch, and I think it'll work just fine. So we need to cut off a piece of that. That's the length of this here. Let me get this straightened out. This is a hard bend to make for me anyway, but if you just keep at it, don't get in a big hurry. Using the rounding edge with my hammer, so as not to leave too many marks on the edge. Long ways to go. I put a mark on this about the halfway spot so that I know where to put that bend at. Got a really good hot fire going. Might have to get out some welding gloves. Because this is getting hot. Yeah, of course it helps if you throw it on the floor a couple, 3 times. See where I'm at with my bend here. A long ways to go. Just a whole bunch more of that. I'll bring you back in a little bit. There's one of those horseshoe bends. It's very close to the size I was looking for. Big important thing now is to make the other one about the same size. So I've cut another piece of this 1 inch by 3/16 inch stock, 30 some inches long, 32 or so, and I've got it in the forge right now. This is just about got this other one done. This is slow going. Just not the way this hot stock wants to bend. You have to, whenever you bend stock, you have to stretch the outside, shrink the inside. bending it this way, it's just amplifies that. Those are just about the same. Think that will have to do. I think that will have to do.